This will avoid Eric's frustration of not being able to find the video. For this video, not for the past video. Sorry about that.
Okay, who's taking Teaching Tuesday? What are we going to learn?
We're not going to learn anything. We're going to review. I hope we'll learn some stuff.
learn.
Well, I hope we'll learn.
I think we will learn during review. That always happens. That's why we've said this time is fine for that.
I need to quickly find my charger. I'll be right back.
I'm going to pull the version we have now, though there are still 4 PRs that I can talk about what they do in the, while we do them, while we do the review. Though I might forget, so Mariah, keep an eye on that and let me know if I'm missing something. Could you link the docx, Mariah? Could you upload that to the code channel? And I will link the interview that I'm going to do. So this is
I'm realizing, Luke, have you joined the Slack yet?
Why? Yes.
I was asking Luke.
Invite
Did you join the Slack yet?
want me
Because
to
we
join
were
it
dropping
right
stuff in the.
I'll go join it right now. Maeve just sent me the invite.
Okay, great. And then I can add you to the main group, and then that way you understand. You can look at what's being dropped where.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michelle.
No worries. So that's in the assembly line code channel. And Mariah, you can drop the docx in there? Okay. You are on mute, just so you know. I'm sure you know, but just to make sure. Shall we wait for other people to come back? I suppose.
I think it's okay to start, Michelle, because there'll be some just getting it up and sharing your screen.
Okay. So you tell me when I should start. I am now sharing my screen, I hope.
Back, if you were waiting for me. I don't think you were.
Okay. Well, we're also, I'm wondering if we're waiting for Caroline. Okay, there we go, Caroline.
Yeah,
All right, we have all the folks.
Avengers have assembled. Let's go.
Excellent. So this is
You're still my ears, but I'm
custom.
going to do Caroline's and read.
Sure, that sounds great.
We don't have to announce when
So,
we're going to get a cup of tea. It's a new rule going forward.
so this is a motion to dismiss a non-essential eviction. And y'all should know I have a toothache still that's being still worked on. So I'm doing my best with life right now. It's okay. Let's do the review. Okay. So this is a custom page where we say download the motion and file it. This interview does not deliver the motion for you. Everything else should be the same.
Sorry, Michelle, are you saying it is custom?
Yes, it is custom. It is a custom version.
The interview does not deliver, but the first sentence it says complete and file court forms. Oh, it's okay. Gotcha. All right. I don't think we're filing it, but anyway, never mind.
Okay. So do we want to change that as well?
I think you do. We're not helping people. I don't think specifically we're helping.
This is a weird one because the Mass Abstract Project itself helps people do that. I think we could say this form will not file directly or something like that.
We did. That's what the text says.
Yeah,
I think that's the. I think this
What
is
we did on other
form.
forms like this is we said complete and download. So just for consistency, we should probably settle on one phrase, but
yeah,
I think complete and download is still really clear.
Then I will do complete and download. That sounds good. I accept terms. This is the description. Now we can do language stuff. If you want to do language stuff, we can do functionality stuff. I don't know what you want to do, but I think Mariah, it'd be better if you took notes on language because I think you will miss less context than I will. So folks can hold up thumbs up when they feel they are ready to move on from here. Okay, there's slight nodding of heads, but I did see Caroline's thumb, so that was good. All right. What is your name? You, whatever. I'm not good, not very inventive today. All right, this is this page.
I just wanted to say something because I should have said it in stand-up, but this prompts me to it as well. I've been pushing to try and get a way that you can click on the image and then just see the image, more clearly on your phone. And I realized yesterday, I was actually testing it. If you're looking at this on a phone, you can expand the image and actually see it, which I think people are inclined to do.
Okay.
So I don't know if we want to do something for our computer users to be able, because I think computer users don't know how that they can zoom in.
So I think, is that part of MVP, or can we have that discussion separately as a kind of a general feature for mass access forms?
It's a general feature.
Okay, so maybe we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
If you want to make a note of that, Caroline.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got it all over the place.
All right, perfect. So let me know when folks are done reading this and how they feel about it. Thumbs up when you finish reading it.
Couple of thoughts. One is the title is kind of far away from the action, but the actions are really clear, so that may not really matter. The other is, I don't know if it's intentional, the new line before we get defendants, tenants, occupants to make it stand out better, but just adding a space between each slash on either side of each slash will make it just a bit better, which might be easier to read, but it wouldn't stand out as much. So those are both kind of, I'm not 100% sure which way to go, but I want to make sure you had a decision about both of those ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Give me a decision, folks.
Mariah, what are your
I'm confused about the second one. You mean to put them on separate lines, defendants, tenants, and occupants?
Let me grab the so yeah, this here looks weird with this space, that it's on a new line, but maybe it's intentional so it stands out.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't intentional.
So I think if you just add a space in these places, like 2 spaces on each side of the dashes.
Well, I think the fact that dependents, tenants, and occupants is together is important because that's exactly what it looks like on the signs. So
So
it could have been intentional.
That's intentional. Okay. Sorry, I thought you meant could it be on the first line, which it could if there's space for it, but yeah.
So maybe if you rephrase that paragraph so that it began instead of ended, or it was in the middle, or so that there was more text there. It wouldn't look as weird.
You could say something, look at this, look at the defendant, tenants, occupants section on your summons.
That will look almost the same.
Yeah, look at, you've got on the same line. And of course,
it would be clear that you're referencing something, though. That would actually help. I agree with that idea.
Because then you've got your image. I mean, the other thing is in terms of word wrap, I'm assuming on a phone, if you make it, it's going to be, that'll change a little bit. I mean, defendants will be on its own line, but you might not get defendants, tenants, occupants all on the same line on a phone.
Can we resize it just quickly to see that?
I mean,
it actually looks like it. Can you make it smaller? Is that
I can't. That's as big. That's as small as I can make it.
That's weird. Okay.
So I can try and change the device if you want. You want me to try and change the device?
You could try that too. Okay, so it looks like that never gets shrunken.
Which is good, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we have the smallest device. We might.
I think that
pretty
is
small.
Right. Yeah, there's a 4. Did you have a 4? iPhone 4?
Not a choice.
Moto G4, yeah. I can look up, see what people are using on Massive Help.
I think if it was clear it's a reference, it would make it less awkward. So if it said something like, look at the line labeled, and then in quotes, defendants, tenant, occupants. Although the quotes might make the line break differently, so you might not want that.
Well, you could say, look at colon. Then you'd have your defendants, blah, 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 blah. These people can file with you. If anybody's listed there, they could, if anybody besides you is listed there, they can file with
Yeah, we can change the language to try to
Yeah.
make it look less gappy.
you. Mm-hmm.
And you might decide it's okay the way it is too. Just wanted to make sure you thought about it. And then the other question, Mariah, was if you feel good about how far it is, the question, is anyone filing with you?
I
From
mean,
when you answer the question.
Ideally, you're saying, so the alternative is to put another question at the end of, like, repeat the question at the end of the paragraph, because, I mean, sure, it would be nicer if the question was closer to the answers, but we need that content. We need
Right.
the sub
I think-
question. Because
I
Can you
we're
say an
working on a
instruction
couple
here, like
concepts.
choose
I
the
think,
status or something? I don't know how to phrase it, but
Are any of these people signing with you?
oh, I see what you're saying.
you could rephrase this
So,
basically.
yeah, who
Turn it
is-
into an action.
You could just say, who is signing? Right? Is
But
anyone
we're not going to put names in there. That's not where their names
Yeah,
are.
yeah, no, I understand that.
So the choices are pretty descriptive, and it's easy to figure out how to answer them. But then once I get,
Or you ask the question, are you filing alone or with other people? I mean, just repeat that question. It's not, is anyone filing with you? You just say, are you filing alone or with other people? That's the question. And then your answer is, I am. I talked to them, at least one of them wants to file with me. I'll tell you, we spent like days working on this language, didn't
I
we?
believe you.
Yeah, there's a few concepts going on here, so that's why it's a little. But I definitely think we can ask the question or a version of the question towards where the answers are. So
Mhm.
we can do that. Can you scroll up a tiny bit, Michelle, so I can just see the page ID for this for my notes? Thanks.
And maybe this is worth adding a help button that says, who should someone file? I don't know what it would be labeled, but to explain. I think the answer is they don't need to file this with.
Right.
They're each in separate defendants. You can, or you can file your own, or you can be left out of this. And then if it gets dismissed, it's probably dismissed as to everybody, but it may not be. And that's probably all the explanation you'd need to have in that button, but it might be worth having that extra information there.
What if your help button says, do I have to file with other people?
Yeah, I like that label.
And then you could give that, so this says they can file with you, and it says, I mean, the idea is other people can file with you. You must get their permission to file with you, they are filing with you, but what we're not getting across, and I think it was important to you that to let people know that they don't have to file, they can file on their own, but
I just want to say, there is an option of I am filing this motion alone, which to me implies that you are able to file the motion alone.
It does imply that.
It definitely does, but I just think some people might be confused about what's the right choice. So if you can give it to them and behind a button, it's just the people who are confused who will click it.
Yeah, it's extra information. I've seen enough people get confused by forms that they, they're like, well, you've seen it too, Michelle, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm just wondering if it's an MVP feature, that's all.
Well, it's just a help button with a paragraph of text.
Sure.
I think it would be okay to save it, but I think it's worth making an issue for it, but it doesn't have to block the release.
Right.
Okay, so a change, but not an MVP change.
Correct.
Okay, hang on. Okay, so I'm going to do this with other people because that will extend our time together, which I would like. So that is the question there. I'm moving on to the next page. Does anybody want me to give their mobile phone number or email or other things? We do need some people doing, I can do all me, but then we're gonna
My
blur
number
the
in, Michelle,
Huh?
857. Oh, Joey,
Let's go.
So I'm sending a link by text. So I will give you a chance to read this. We're going to come here again we're going to do a few different co-defendants to show the behavior, which is actually like.
So my first impression looking at this is a lot of text that I have to read all of it to be able to choose.
yeah.
I have to read each of those whole sentences,
Oh,
or I can
we had
see which
it-
one to select.
Sorry, so it definitely is a lot of text. The rationale for doing it like this was that we had all of the options on separate screens, and when you don't give, it felt like if we didn't give the user all of the options at once, they didn't know what other options there were available. So we definitely could do like an overview page and then separate options on different pages, but this lets them see all of their options up front together or at once.
You know, the thing is, I think, Quentin, it would look like less reading if the options were shorter.
It definitely, so we had like, for the first one, we could have email, text, but I also wanted to get across for people who, I think there's a lot of people, you guys are super familiar now with like signing on your phone, this whole concept, but I think a lot of people don't understand that. So I wanted to use the language, draw their signature. Like, what does it mean to sign on a phone or a computer if you don't actually know how to do that? But if you guys have done testing on this already and it's not a big deal to say you're going to text them a link and they know what that means, then absolutely.
I don't think we've tested it, so I can see why you want to explain what the options mean too.
But maybe we could say, maybe we could describe what you can do on devices in the sub-question. And then the options, so you don't have to go through, you don't have to say, draw your signature, draw, you know, those
Well, it's only twice. So
yeah,
that
I
had thought of that, but because there's 3 other options that are not about drawing your signature, then putting that up there was sort of like, then that would be one screen for the drawing your signature options, and then it would be another one with the other 3 options. But that,
well, you might be able to, I think you could do some kind of introductory thing. So the people who are signing with you can sign on their phone, their computer, on your phone or computer, or with you, or paper. So like one sentence that says all the options, and then you spell them out. Or there are different ways for your co-defendant to sign. You could do something like that, which would shorten all your options.
I would be happy to work with you on that, but I don't know it's actually going to shorten, because you're sort of repeating. You're having the big,
I wouldn't do it. Basically it's about signing. So you can send them a link by email so they can sign, and you've already explained how they sign. And you could you can text them a link, you can email them.
Might I make a suggestion that this be a separate conversation for you and Mariah, and y'all can kind of work out what the wording should be.
Yeah.
I have one more idea, which I don't know if is incorporated in what your discussion is going to already be. Could you group the options a different way so they still appear on one screen, but so that some appear and hide depending on your overall choice? So like one big question, is the person in the room with you or not? I don't know if that's the question to ask, but if you could group the options in that way, there's fewer choices they have to read before they can figure out what is even an option.
Narrows it down.
But if they are in the room with you, you can still pick all these options. So I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not sure that one is.
Are they in the room with you? I'm saying if you had a question like sign in person, sign remotely, and then show the follow-up options underneath that. Maybe that's not even the right grouping, but something to just.
A way to narrow the questions
options can't be. You have to read all of the text of an option until you know which one you can.
I don't need to
Good
be
idea, like,
convinced. I don't need to be convinced. I'm good. Like, I was just pointing out that specific suggestion, I just wanted to make sure to put my 2 cents in about the suggestion. It still might be useful in other ways, or there might be other ways to do this, for sure.
Yeah, so if you had a way to do it with show ifs, it might still work. Even if it's longer, it might still help.
I think that might be, Caroline, do you feel happy incorporating that into your conversation you're going to have with Mariah?
Yeah, I think Quentin was a good idea for Quentin to bring it up. So I think it's good to have any of his suggestions, and then we can talk about it.
So, thinking the page ID, Michelle.
Good place to do green text as well. So you just shorten the options and then have green text or question marks. You know how.
That's true. So that's another thing you could do is you could have a question mark next to each radio button choice.
Yep. So now when I press on text, because that's what I'm going to do with Caroline's one, it's going to show her number again. So if you could stop recording. Oh, yep, you can start recording. So Caroline and Mariah are going to talk about the how to make it more clear that people can change the number that appears at the bottom of the screen, and it will not change the court number and all that kind of thing. All right, this is the next page, and I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to say.
Before you do this, can you just change the second to, Quentin sent me some code, so it's actually 2ND rather than the word second.
Oh,
so
and
do people understand 2ND? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's
Jonathan just added another feature that makes it easier to use that, Caroline, just so you know.
Oh, all right.
It's in
So
the first release of docassemble we don't have installed anywhere yet, but.
okay.
This is looking, can we just click the source button? This seems like a fix in basic questions, but it should have last name required and suffix should be a dropdown, but that's probably not your code.
I was thinking that was your choice. Did you guys want not to have a second surname required?
It looks like it's not in basic
Oh,
questions,
choice.
and I didn't write this one, so.
But might have been copied and pasted when
Maybe
it was
I wrote this one,
in
but-
basic questions and it's not anymore. I'm not sure.
Mariah, did you have a reason not to require the surname?
I thought it was a basic question.
Oh.
Oh, we got copied from there at one point.
Yep.
I think we've fixed that in upstream, but we probably should make it consistent. I think we decided early on to help people enter data correctly. It was worth requiring last name, even though not everyone has a last name. And suffix should definitely be a dropdown with choices.
Okay. So
it's the other screen that had the same issue. But I think it's probably just one screen you have to change.
okay. Okay. Next, I'm going to put someone else's information in so we can stop recording for a sec. This is going to happen if I just wanted to say start recording.
This is a dictionary of co-defendants, right? Isn't that what you build?
It's a list.
Oh, it's a list. Because I thought in a dictionary you can't order them and sometimes they go backwards. So I was curious to know.
It's true.
It looked like it wasn't in order. Okay, never mind.
In a regular dictionary, you can't. It might. We can look again.
That's
well,
okay.
it's showing the last one first. So
yeah.
that's a docassemble thing. That's not.
Yeah, I know. I was just wondering about that.
Okay.
Do you guys want to talk about if they are co-defendants changing the you, or do you want to just assume that's plural?
What?
Well, you've got
thing to
Yeah,
rephrase first. Probably the top title is okay, but the RU should it make it clear it could talk about more than one person? I think that's a good point.
We could definitely list the names. We have everyone, are you and then
Right.
the list of co-defendants.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So you want, okay, so I will make that the list of co-defendants.
In the sub-question, yeah.
So,
And I don't know if I might have even have written the first draft of this, but is it easy to have a colon, a bulleted?
I was going to say, so one of my suggestions was that we change this to are we recording? I can't tell. Is to change this to a sentence. It's really easily changed to just one sentence. Are you involved in criminal activity or breaking your lease in any way that risks someone's health and safety? That was going to be my suggestion.
Fine, because I mean, the reason for making it a bullet is if we really care about them knowing what they are as separate things.
So
but I
wanna-
can't imagine someone answering yes to this.
Okay.
So.
I'm also going to come in here as a criminal defense attorney. We shouldn't be asking them. I would never advise a client to ever answer a question like that. So I think we can
Answer it
phrase it
all?
in a different way. Well,
Yeah.
I would be probably a little too clever, but I wouldn't have them affirmatively consent to say I have. They shouldn't be having to they shouldn't be having to.
If they say yes,
self-incriminate.
If they
Yeah.
say yes, it's a kick out.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Okay.
It would be nice if it was something like, do you think anyone would have reason to say that? Or I'm sorry, I'm just being complete defense attorney here. The idea that someone's being asked to say, have you broken a law?
so maybe
Well, this is what.
So maybe it's like,
What
this
you
is
say
only
in the answer.
valid if blah, blah, blah. I mean,
well, I mean, an easy way is to just have this be the first screen and say, by clicking continue, you agree you're not risking someone's health and safety.
So the reason it can't be the first screen is because we're either having them, this is a we because they have codependents, or it's an I.
They have to
We
speak
need
on
to
behalf of everybody.
Codependents first before we get to the screen. Or else it would have to be repeated, are the codefendants risking anyone's health or safety?
Can we play that out a little bit though? Because what happens if one of their co-defendants did, and I don't know the answer from a legal point of view, but they did not violate health and safety. I actually don't know the answer if they could
Well,
qualify for the moratorium still.
yeah.
Well, you could, you know what you could do is you might have,
Tenant.
you might be able to have another option that says one of us might be, or have a help button or something so that you can say, and it's almost like then that person shouldn't be filing with you.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm thinking. So at that point, how do you remove that person from the form?
That's
So,
a lot of back code, I think, right?
yeah, that's a lot of.
maybe we change it to something about the affirmative. To continue, you need to affirm this, and then you can affirm, and then you can have an option which is not, no, I didn't do it. It's like, I choose not to.
Can we do
continue.
a like accept terms at the bottom of the name page or at the bottom of one of the other pages that says this person, this co-defendant is not risking anyone's health and safety, and if they don't check that, then they can't add the co-defendant.
I think I've also in my mind convinced myself that as long as there's not a yes here, I'm happier, right? So if it's no, I'm not risking someone's health, or I prefer not to answer. And then the pickup screen is
There's, if you can't say no to this, then you can't put off.
Well, I understand,
right?
but yeah, but I don't want to ever have a situation where someone is affirmatively answering yes, I'm involved in criminal activity.
Oh, you mean ever in any, I see what you're saying, right? Because somebody in another case could come back and say, well, they won't find it because they won't get this, right? No,
but I just don't like the idea of it existing anywhere in the world.
Right, I understand. I get it. I didn't understand that before.
So if the yes was changed to I prefer not to answer, and then you give them the kickout screen because it's like, well, you have to say no, then that addresses, I think, my immediate concern, which is I just don't ever want there to be a situation where someone answers yes.
So you could
Could
change the
answer
language
yes
to
to-
yes, because I don't want to answer this, or I can't
Yes,
answer.
or I prefer not to answer.
Yeah, and then you just go finish the interview.
And it's like, well, we can't move forward without that.
Yeah.
Mariah, can you note that one down as something to give to me, the new wording, and maybe talk about it with Caroline or David, but also we have to solve the problem of like, if it needs to be per co-defendant, and if so, I suggest it be either with the name or before the name or something, so that they don't ever put in the co-defendant that creates that risk.
So one of the things we could do is for MVP, if anybody says, I can't answer that question, they have to stop, start over again, and take out whatever co-defendant, just for MVP. Because this is, right now, we've only got 4 weeks before this is not even going to be relevant anymore, right? So if we do that, if any of them are, then sorry, you can't do this interview. And on that page, you could also say, if this is true of any of the co-defendants, start the interview over again without the co-defendant that's done this, or, you could have a kick-out page and just end it there. I think that, I'm just trying to think now, how can we get this done quickly?
Yeah, I love it.
And in terms of those options that you wanted Mariah and me to go over and try and break up, I'm also thinking in terms of MVP. It is a lot, but maybe for now, we simplify it a little bit, but not spend too much time on it and just leave it as it. I think, David, your objection is definitely worth a solution is including.
You just got to change the yes. Just change
I'm not
the yes.
sure about some of the others for MVP.
Okay, so you and Mariah will discuss all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Have you written them all down?
Mariah has.
Excellent, cool. So we are looking at the kickout screen, which I assume might still exist, just so for completeness.
Yeah, it'll still exist. The language will change.
Yeah.
There we go. So this is the language.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll need to be changed accordingly, but yeah.
Do you want to see the links that these lead to?
Is it all
Well,
MLRI or where
Yes,
do we?
find legal aid and made, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't look at a previous link. I forgot that. And then there's file and answer with made.
Does that go to the same thing as this free guided interview tool?
Yeah.
It doesn't pop out though, I've noticed.
Pop
It does?
out?
Because it's an
It
exit.
doesn't open a new window.
Oh, it's an exit screen. Okay.
Oh, which also
Oh.
creates your session. Sorry.
All right, yeah. I
Whoops.
pressed to open in a new tab, but it didn't open it in a new tab. I like specifically command clicked.
Oh,
Okay, so stop the recording so we can enter in all that information again.
Okay.
Great. All right. So I'm gonna end.
Now, I think we can cut you a little slack.
We
Sorry,
will
I'm
see
back. I don't know
if
what
it needs
happened.
one. No worries, no worries. So stop recording, and you'll have to erase part of the.
By the way, Luke, if this were like in your wheelhouse, this would be a great thing to fix. Is why this input is so ridiculously wide. Is upstream docassemble thing, but we have ways to change it
Could add a label.
and stuff.
Add
That
a
would
label
be a little
that's a
shorter, but
blank.
it's so far to get to the spinner.
It
that's
is.
insane, isn't it? It's a huge
Yeah.
box to put in 1 or 2 or 4.
Yeah.
And that's on every form. It's not just
Okay,
ours.
so are we done with the language and picture on this?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, sorry. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
This would be a good place to have a picture, I think.
A picture on what is the plaintiff's name?
Oh, hang on. I want to give like 2 plaintiffs.
Wait, what is?
I went back.
Oh, I see. Okay. I missed the context for it. Sorry.
So it had a picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we're going to
So
go
we're
back.
already
for a sec.
explaining.
It has a picture.
Could we say here, this is usually the name of your landlord, but check to make sure or something like that? I don't know.
How about Mariah? You
that.
Caroline, write
It
that
does
down.
have an exact copy from the summons, but I'm just wondering.
Say that again. Sorry. You said
I see you say exactly where to get the information,
Yeah.
but I still think people won't necessarily know their landlord is the plaintiff.
on the next page.
Or even though it says plaintiff, landlord, owner, what if they know their landlord's name but don't have the summons? Is there any way to explain this is usually your landlord, but make sure it's written the same way? Something like that?
Oh, yeah. But I think I actually see your problem with the next page more because you might have forgotten what the plaintiff is on the next page.
You want to just repeat the image? Just put the image again, same image.
Yeah, we could do that.
Or just say the landlord, the first, well, I don't know. Because you do want it to be exact.
Mm.
It's not always clear. Also, when you look at that, sometimes that is 2 lines of text without a comma in it. So people may not know how to break it up. Do you actually want to have them write the number of plaintiffs or just to copy what's in that box on the form?
I actually forget why we're asking the number of.
Yeah, you could just say who's in this, who's on these lines. Because are you asking, you're not
For
asking.
service, right? Is it for service we care?
So we could just say, put in the text that's on this line, right?
Yeah, but let's just, before we jump and change the whole layout, think about why we even did it like this to begin with. Why is it relevant to know how many plaintiffs there are? Is it for?
You can look at the form that you put in the Slack channel, right? At the docx, at a completed form, and see if it matters in there.
Well, it's only for the heading. Plaintiffs only listed in the heading and for service. So
You say plaintiffs plural, that doesn't seem like that's coded to do anything based on how many plaintiffs there are.
yeah.
And it does not look like you use it for, they're not referenced at all in this service area. It just says plaintiff, my landlord, or my landlord's lawyer. It doesn't reflect back the name.
So yeah, this seems like we could just get rid of this number question altogether.
Yeah, just have it be one, who are the plaintiff, who is in the plaintiff landlord owner line of your summons and complaint?
Yeah.
Copy everything, and then you skip the next, I mean, you use the field from the next question as long as it's not a, list. And just have one text box there. Right?
I think so.
I mean, that sounds great to me.
Yeah, just have one box there. Makes sense.
Shall this be a thing for y'all to discuss, or?
Yeah, we'll discuss it and then you can implement it.
That's right. That's exactly what I want to hear. That is what I want to hear. So perfect. Okay, so you all discuss that. So this might all be moot, but okay, Eastern Housing Court.
Where did that come from?
The address that I gave.
All right. That's the court locator, huh?
Yeah.
So this is like the very first alpha version of the court locator, which just finds your local housing court. That's what I use in MAID.
Do you want to say, I mean, it just shows up. Do you want to indicate to people they can change it?
I think that's a good idea. Or even use the radio buttons and let people select from district and
Right.
court to or BMC district and Superior Court as other possible
Does the alpha version of the court locator give them, is there a way to do that?
Well, the new court locator is something this form could use. Other forms are already using it.
Right.
Though we can't, I mean, I can copy the text. Yeah, we can't customize the text yet because it's not in a template yet, but we can definitely.
No, it is. It's in the basic questions. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
We
you're
can't
saying.
replace the text with the template, which I
Yes.
think might be the next step. But I'm showing that the allowed courts do include district court and municipal court. That doesn't mean it shouldn't be in the language of the question. I'm just showing that it does include it.
Well, okay. All right. I'm not quite sure how this works, but
So it looks up the address and it shows all the municipal courts, district courts, and housing courts that are available, period, that exist.
well,
but
that's
it
what your thing is doing right now, right?
That's what this thing is doing. Correct.
Okay. So, but Quentin was saying the alpha version of the court locator, which you're not using, right?
This is the alpha version.
Oh, I see.
The
Okay.
beta version is the one with the map and everything.
All right. So,
I'm not sure the one with the map is, I mean, maybe it's useful in this situation. I'm not sure it is, but maybe it is.
so it could be based on the eviction address. It could be any of those courts in this list.
Nope.
Yeah, we should give them a list of 3 courts probably.
That's what I'm trying to
School
get at.
district, housing court, superior court. Those are all 3
So,
venues the landlord could have filed in.
so the same text, but with the map, correct?
I don't think
The
so.
same text here, but with the beta version that has the map.
With the radio buttons that show the 3
Three
local.
possible courts. Yeah.
Yeah, with the
And the
rest
map-
of the,
I don't know. That's up to you. If you.
well, just tell, it's not up to me. Tell me what to do.
What's the value of having a map? Because I haven't
All
seen
right,
the map.
so we had a couple of thoughts. I know David and I, we talked about this, and you had said a while ago, let's keep the map all the time because it's consistent and people won't be confused if they use more than one form for why the map doesn't show up. If people know the court mostly by where it physically is, that can be helpful too. The funny thing is lots of addresses in Boston will have the same physical address for the court, but it could be 3 different courts. Superior Court, BMC, and Housing Court are all in the same building for anybody who has at least the right part of Boston.
I would think,
Yeah.
I would
But
say no map if it was to, I don't know that the map's adding a lot of value if we're actually saying to look at your summons, because
Yeah.
people aren't going to know just this is the beginning of a case. They're not going to have been to the court to know where it is on a
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
on
I think the
the
3
location.
radio buttons is the key thing. And Mariah, you got that, right? You understand what Quentin was saying about that?
Well, I have a question. Is it will automatically populate with the relevant 3 locations? So
Based
from
on-
the address.
Yes.
What we have been doing is we show, like this list, if you expand the full rate drop-down list again, Michelle, that list will always be there too, in case we did something wrong with our location matching.
Mhm.
But above it, we would show the 3 relevant choices as radio options, and they're only the 3 that serve that address.
Quentin, do we have any interviews that are doing that now? With the radio buttons?
For which one?
The TRO
I
has it,
think
but it has
Tier
the
does
map
have
as
a
well.
live, though. Yeah, the Tier.
Yeah, I'm actually on a different window. I was starting to
So,
try and
I think it'll
open-
be helpful for Mariah to look at that so she can see how it looks.
It would, it'd be very nice to see it, but I understand as long as it's populating with the 3 relevant courts and you select which one and we change the language of this page. And if there's a mistake, you can change it. I think that covers everything.
I think I do think if we are having the picture here and telling them to look at the summons, that the map doesn't have the same utility.
Yeah,
So I don't
Yeah.
think that's a,
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I think the map's actually distracting.
yeah,
So
I think here,
Mariah,
since we have
can you
another
look
picture
for us
bullet,
to do this together? For you and I to implement 3 radio buttons and the language, and I can show you what it looks like, and then you can arrange the language maybe with Caroline. Yeah, I'll do it with, I will implement with 3 radio buttons. This is the court question page ID.
Just, yeah, I'd be interested to
And I
see.
will say, like, it's really a 50-50 chance. So like in MAID, if people, I want to remind people, oh, you can, well, I don't know if it was the right choice anyway. It was just, that was what I could get working quickly, was the locator for that. It took a lot of work to get the rest of the locators up. But there's a really good chance that someone filed in BMC or district court.
Right.
Like at least 50%. So.
All
Superior
right.
court almost never happens, but it's technically possible.
Shall I go on to, we have 2 minutes, so we haven't even gotten to the complex part,
Oh,
but okay. So
I
here's
would
the
be good to
docket
stay
number.
just a couple minutes over. I don't have a hard stop at 2.
Oh, okay, okay.
I do have a hard stop at 2 something, but I don't remember what the
Okay.
something is.
It would
We'll
be
figure
good to
that
know
out,
what
David.
something is.
Cuts
Yeah.
off the cool.
So is this what we want? Can there be multiple docket numbers, et cetera, et cetera?
There are never multiple docket numbers.
That's great. So this says, I don't know the docket number.
I don't think you just have to
Maeve.
say if you know the docket number for this case. It's what's the docket number? I do not know, or put it in. I don't think you need to the extra.
Oh, good point.
The what is a docket number is helpful, but you don't
So
need.
what is the docket number will be at the top, and then the option I don't know and the field for the docket number. Can
And
you
the
mark can you mark the
Yeah.
timestamp, Maeve,
Got
so
it.
you can blur my thing? Okay.
I'm just gonna cut it up.
Okay. I can implement that. This is what is a docket number. Okay.
You want to say it should be on the notice you got from your landlord, or may?
No, it's not on the summons and complaint usually.
Okay, gotcha. Well,
Okay.
wait, are you talking about the notice? Is the notice the same thing as the summons and complaint?
I mean, I don't.
Should we
this
say
is
summons and
exact
complaint
language,
instead
right?
of notice? Should we say summons and complaint instead of notice, I think is the question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
They just have to be the same word. If they're talking about the same thing, they need to be the same words. That's all.
Okay, so notice changes to summons and complaint.
mb.restless.tech.
Thanks, Caroline. I really appreciate that being pointed out. Okay, so this is a number. Next, are you ready to serve plaintiff 1 and plaintiff 2?
Excuse me, guys. I
Yeah.
am gonna head out.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. I know this was fascinating.
You should get a medal for.
This will be
lasting
happening
this
to you
long.
too in the future. Yeah, you should get a medal.
We got
David's
to you on Thursday, okay.
Yeah, great. And thank you, everyone, for all.
Thank
Cool.
you, Luke.
Looking forward to
So
working with you.
Meet you.
You're gonna miss the really cool part, but okay.
Stay tuned.
It's being
Post the
recorded.
interesting part.
Recording.
You can watch the
Alright.
video later. All right, bye. So I'm mostly paused for language.
You want a punctuation at the end of the first item in bullet 1. I think we're going to change, if we're going to change this plaintiff to one text field. I think, Mariah, you want to think about whether this whole, how you want to do that. But if we're going to have plural, you can do a function with a verb. So it says plaintiff 1 and plaintiff 2 do not have a lawyer, or plaintiff 1 does not have a lawyer. But I think that's just make a note of that. If we change it to just a text box for plaintiffs, then we don't need to mess around with the verb, the function of the verb does.
Also,
But what we won't be
mind
able to, but it might be wrong.
Right.
keep in mind that sometimes that about half the time that's going to, especially with recent changes in law, it's going to be something like Maloney Properties DBA such and such management company on behalf of
Right.
such and such LLC. So it's going to be like a really long landlord name if they exactly copy what's in that field.
Yeah.
So probably just saying landlord is better, or plaintiff, the plaintiff, your landlord.
But it might be
Really
plural.
awkward and weird to see it written out and reflected back on the screen multiple times at least.
So Caroline, is that?
Yeah,
something you
I'll
wanna
talk
think
to
about?
Mariah. I can figure that out because
In
it
the
also
context
depends
of that
on the whole
question.
thing about how we're going to whether we're going to do
Yeah.
a list of plaintiffs or whether we're going to do one text box.
Yeah, and we don't want to do, if, you know, plaintiff or plaintiffs, like we want to think about how that might work, et cetera.
Yeah, yeah.
There's almost always going to be one plaintiff
We
who
could-
might
we-
have multiple name parts, but it's going to be one plaintiff almost
Yep.
99% of the time.
Oh,
One.
okay.
So it could be that we ask people to say how many plaintiffs there are and then ask them to fill in the text that's in that section. And then we just use the number to do the grammar for this page.
Well, Quentin just said 99.9% there's only one plaintiff. So,
Okay.
yeah.
They changed the law, so I mean, it used to be that people who were the managing agent would file the cases all the time, but that's not allowed anymore. It has to be the real owner. There's usually only one owner, but
Mhm.
and it's usually an LLC or it's an individual landlord.
So we don't handle the other case. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So what are my options says this.
I would just think, yeah, anyway, I guess I already said the reason why it could be awkward. I think it's okay just to say your landlord, and your landlord could be more than one person in some cases, but that's still your landlord.
So we're instead of talking about the plaintiff, we're talking about your landlord.
I mean, there are reasons to not do that. I feel like it's the more familiar thing to people, but I guess the reason to say plaintiff is to make it clear service goes to the person listed on the summons and not to the person who you interact with daily.
Right.
I think Mariah has just as good of an insight into that as I do.
Yeah, so I do want to say that in the suburbs, I think there are a lot more couples who own property who are landlords. So I wouldn't quite put it at 99%. Certainly more, significantly more than 50% are a single
your couples,
landlord.
right? Yeah.
But people here own property. I mean, it is just like smaller landlords who own buildings with their siblings or their parents or their spouses, and so there are more than one owner.
So do you want to, maybe the thing to do is have a think, you know, not under pressure about whether you want to list plaintiffs or whether you want to.
But there's no, except for the case, the pluralness of that last screen, I don't think it's relevant to have them separate. So if we can find a way to draft that language to cover an individual or multiple, and using, like Quentin said, the landlord more is fine. But I totally hear what you're saying, and I agree that landlord means the person that somebody pays rent to, which is not necessarily the person on
the plaintiff, right?
The summons.
And then there's also the issue of whether you send it to the attorney or not, but you probably handle that. And I know that's not on this exact screen.
So I will let you guys work that out too.
Can we see the question again, Michelle?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna say yes.
You know what? You don't have a. That's not a question. The yes, no. We've lost the question there.
Okay, so should you guys discuss that as well when you discuss it?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the options, and I don't know if you want to see what each one of them results in, but that will take a process. We can go back and forth between the preview page and this page. Do we just want to pick one? I can pick the shortest path and just say no.
Can we see the yes again one more time?
Sure.
We want to make sure the third option includes landlord's attorney or lawyer, because that would be the proper person to serve.
So Mariah, you and Caroline can work on that as well.
Yep.
Okay. And you can watch this video afterwards to go item by item, because there's just a lot of items, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of context. But like I can show you what, you know, any of these except for I don't know ends up asking the date, I think, if you do. I don't remember exactly. I think it still does the date, but it might, no, it goes to the preview. And we can go back and forth a bit between the preview and this to see the different text that appears. And so it mainly affects a lot of co-defendants. It mainly affects the text down here. So that is one version and it's blocking me. My email, we'll do a date. And that looks like this. Okay, this is before signature, of course, which doesn't include this section at the bottom. So it's missing a section at the bottom right now. So I don't know if that needs to be included, but do you want me to do the rest of them?
Well, you're saying they're the same, except that the
language at the bottom.
The bottom describes the way it was served, right?
Yep. So if that language is important to someone, can someone tell me if I don't need to do this? Because
You don't need
otherwise,
to. You don't need to do it. They're all the same. Those top 3 options are the same, except it says I'm serving by email, by mail, or in person.
or
with a
by
date.
hand, it says, I think.
That's
by-
in person.
In person.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm just saying that that's by hand, and then this has blank lines.
This is the I do not know one.
This is the no, I'm not ready to serve this person.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the next page. I'm going to, if you want, I can do the signature flow. You'll see it with one of the other,
Let's do it with one of the
with the co-defendants. So, and please sign below. And now it has sent the notifications to me. I will be getting a bunch of them in a sec. So it says C4, please sign below. And it doesn't say for any of them, DD sign for CC. It doesn't say any of those, so we might want to think about doing that.
Just so you're not when you see it.
Oh, sorry, automatic. So just, you know, I'd like an opinion on that too, real quick, if it should.
Rephrase it. Sorry.
When DD is signing with permission of someone or other, should it say DD sign with permission of whatever, whoever it is, C5?
Yeah, I think it should. When you're signing on behalf of somebody, it should, instead of please sign below, it says sign for so-and-so below.
Carolyn, I think you had said in a different call to take out the please sign below language.
The please, yeah. I mean, we need your signature, right? But if you're saying
C5, signature of C, what if it said signature of C5?
yeah, C5 signature, something like that, apostrophe S.
Oh,
right?
no. You have to tell people what to do here. This is a foreign screen. I think you definitely have to tell people.
Okay.
This is just
That's
a box.
Stay in
I
there.
have no idea what
Yeah.
to do with this thing.
Okay. It's
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Just take out the word please, so we still
Yeah, I
have the.
think the please is the bit that you want to definitely, I think that's what, if you're remembering me commenting on, I suspect, please.
Okay, so, and for the,
You are going to need to indicate for whom you're signing, if you're signing for somebody versus they're signing.
yeah, okay.
I think that's disconcerting for people if they said they were going to sign for somebody and it says so-and-so sign here.
All right, so here is what we have worked out so far.
Okay, so this, they're not signing the eviction moratorium, right?
Oh yeah, sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I was.
Yeah. So
No.
what is this that they're signing?
Motion to
Motion to
dismiss.
dismiss.
Yeah, motion
I
to
think that's fair
dismiss.
enough.
Yeah.
And where I get it, we're changing the language next to like the little icons so
Yeah.
that we're going to say where like where it's been sent. So
Oh
you
yeah,
send
that's a good
message
idea.
to
Yeah.
Mary
So-
at her email, right?
So that will be a, well, the question is that MVP? Saying where it has been sent.
I definitely think it is, because what if somebody typed in an email or a phone number wrong?
Yeah.
Right, but so what I've understood in the past for other similar things is that the person would then communicate and be like, you haven't gotten it yet, blah, 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 I'll redo it, something or other. So that is my question for MVP, and y'all can decide, that's all.
I do tend to agree with Mariah, because you're not going to know where you sent it to. Unless you have it somewhere, you're not going to know where you sent it to. And people have pretty ugly discussions about, yes, I did, no, I didn't.
All right, does everybody agree with that?
The other side of that is, how long is it going to take to put that in?
It's something that wouldn't be very hard to add, right?
No, it wouldn't be very hard to add.
Yeah. No,
I would go ahead and add it.
It would be hard to add to the email. That, never mind, I'll talk about that in a bit.
I'm not sure you have to add it in the email. You just need it somewhere so they know.
I have 15 minutes before I need to start getting ready for my possible root canal.
Yeah, and well, there's going to be a hard stop in 5 minutes, so.
Sure,
Okay.
good.
Can I just
So
bring up quickly just the one other feature that I was hoping we could have here?
the edit
that-
and resend, right?
Well,
Yeah, to have a block where they could change. If the email is wrong, they can change it and resend it.
Hmm.
do you think that's
MVP or not
that
MVP?
quickly?
The form is fairly short, is one of my pieces of input.
Does that, but I'm not, so you're saying, Michelle, you're saying it might be quicker to start over again?
Yeah. I mean, it will be quicker for me to code if they start over again.
Right.
So if we're talking, it depends how time sensitive this is, right?
I'm in favor of, having a feature freeze is important. And I think if you're saying it's going to take time to implement, I think it's okay to tell people, okay, take 10 minutes, do it over again, versus telling Michelle, take 3 hours to implement this
Right.
feature.
For now.
For now.
Mhm.
Yes, that's always the.
Though, to be fair, I might have, well, I could do other things with that time, but I might have time while you all are working out language as far as so if this is a super important feature, then I might have time while that's going on, or I might be unconscious on Percocet or something. So, I don't know.
Well, do you want to like say you spend a certain amount of time doing it? And if you don't get to it by then we just put it to the next version?
Sure. I mean, sure. I'd rather decide now what we were going to do, but if that's where we want to put it, I can put it that way. So let's get to the, we can come back here. I'm now going to.
What does check again mean?
Okay, so I'm now going to show you what that means.
Okay.
So I have gotten a message, let's say for C2, right? That says this.
Yeah.
And y'all can talk about the language there, or we can, whatever. There's different language in the email that I can show you in a bit. And I'm going to click on that and I'm going to sign it. So let's look at this before I sign it. This is the PDF as it is right now, which looks like this, has this signature, this signature, and that. Though it doesn't have that other signature part, so maybe I should have shown that one of the other things. Did I go back and show that?
No, I think that's clear enough. You're saying there's no signature on the certificate of service right now.
Right, and there's a section below that has other text or something. I
don't think there is, Michelle. That's
okay. That's just that's the docx. Okay, so now so this is I will show you when I do it by email. So I'm going to say that I am willing to sign, and I'm going to sign it, clear to. It says, this.
Thank you. You've signed DD's document. They'll get your signature soon.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I do check again here. and C2 is now here.
Mm-hmm.
And these are still that. And this is, they will sign on the document when you print it. The PDF now shows number 2's signature. I'm now going to go back, and for person number 1, I'm going to say that I'm not willing to sign.
One piece of feedback while you do that, which maybe it's distracting. I know you have a short time. I think the button is too large, the check again button.
Sure. All right. Check again button smaller. I will write that down in a second. Mariah, can you write that down? This has different text now. The text is on the freaking, what is handler entry point? Oh, I won't see it here, but the text says something like, you have chosen not to sign this document. You can visit this link again to sign the document, and it also has a restart button. So that is the language for that we can review at some point, but there's no time. So I'm going to check again. And it says X does not want to sign, and now it's going to have some more text that Mariah has added. It has a horizontal rule here, and it says right now, if this person isn't willing to sign, you can still print this whatever and turn it into download it and turn it into the court. And then the final one is the email.
And I'm going to have to switch over here.
I will, just a sec. Oh, you have to switch over. So
yeah, I have another call, so it'll come in for you guys.
Okay.
Well, bye.
I also just wanted to say thank you, Michelle, for the work with the code for Boston stuff this weekend. I heard things went well, so thank you for all of that work there and putting that together.
Thank you.
All right, and now on that note, I'm gonna kick everyone
all right.
off. I'm sorry.
No worries. So
right.
I did not, oh, there we go.
I think we're going to get kicked off, though.
Oh, we're going to get
We'll
kicked off
see.
completely?
Yeah, I'm going to leave you for a second, then you'll get kicked off when I join my other meeting.
Okay, well,
Kristen, you're
it was
muted
good.
if you're trying to talk to us. I don't know.
Me?
Sorry, I'm talking to someone else.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's okay.
So, well,
That's the
there's
ultimate, like, I'm waving to the person.